Hello everyone and welcome to Best Side Cycling. It's just before 5 and STP is now officially begun. I'm going to be rolling out from my place and we're going to head out to meet our friends at mile 20. So let's go. Jim! Woo! We're here at the first rest stop. It hasn't even opened yet. It opens just in 5 minutes and we're getting our crew here together to go rolling. So we're on our way and we have all 4 of us together riding for the whole Seattle to Portland 200 miles, and this is my first ever one day. And in the front we have Oded, Jim in the white, and then Godwin in the black jersey. And I gotta say, the 3 of these guys are way faster than me on the flats, so I'm gonna be relying on them a bunch this whole ride, as you'll see. And as we're going out here, we started cooking pretty fast, 20 to 22 miles per hour. Just riding along. I was quite nervous to start, but once we got into it and I got these walls to ride behind, I realized that I was probably gonna be okay. But nonetheless, I was looking forward to the one hill on this ride, the Puyallup Hill. We're in Puyallup and we're about to do one of the main hills on this ride, so follow along and let's go. Wait, is this it? Oh, it's finally here!
See you in Portland!
My one chance for glory! On your left. So as you can tell, I was super excited to see this hill. I think for this whole ride, this is the tallest one at about 300 feet and 5.7 gradient. I realized that this was my first time doing this hill as the 2018 one was modified. So nonetheless, it's been a long time since then. And also, if you don't watch the channel regularly, I am an extreme featherweight cyclist, so hills are where I like to be. And to be honest, I wouldn't have been able to do this ride the way I did without all the support from my friends back there. But nonetheless, I'm going to give this hill a very, very good effort. And at the end of the day, I ended up with a top 11. So I'm pretty happy with that. And let's continue with the vlog. So that was the hill done. And we're gonna keep going. That was a lot of fun. I gave it really good effort. And yeah, definitely a lot shorter than I remember it used to be. So let's keep on going. Hello, hello! We're here at Spanaway rest stop at mile 54. They have some PB&J sandwiches and our group is finally taking a rest after a good hard ride. We're going really quick and then we're gonna just keep on trucking here, but seeing a lot of friends, and here's what it looks like. Alright, so it's 7:35, we're gonna start heading out again. This is our group and all assembled, Oded, Godwin in the back, Jim, and me in the back. So we headed out, and as this year would have it, it was drizzling and it just felt really weird. The roads were wet in the morning as well, so definitely a very cool day, which is ideal for riding, but maybe not as much views or the typical STP you would expect. But it was a very different vibe from when I first did this, mainly because I'm doing it in one day now, as well as I left really in the morning and our group was sort of going pretty fast. So the types of riders I would see and ride with were pretty different than the usual. But it was nice in the sense that it was not nearly as crowded as we roll along here across the military JBLM area, getting here to the Yelm Trail. And this part, I remember when I first rode it, was basically like just clogged up. Like I felt bad for anyone going in the northbound direction because there was like 4 bikes going southbound. But here with our timing, as mentioned, it was pretty nice. It was just us going along here, and it was a really nice trail overall, just riding along, going through. This part of the ride probably features the most stop and go, with a lot of different stop signs for, of course, different roadways going through the trail. There's a lot of bollards and dividers, yellow squares on the ground, bumps, roots, just like any other trail, so you can't go as fast either. So that made it a little bit harder for me, as there's a lot of acceleration trying to keep up with these guys, but managed to make it through. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please roll over that like button and subscribe. We cover all sorts of Seattle cycling content. I'm just about getting people onto bikes here in the Puget Sound. So if you're with that, hit that bell icon too, and you'll be kept up to date. But we keep going along here, and soon enough we make it to the end of the trail. All right, we're here at a sort of just impromptu stop next to these porta potties. I think at mile 78 for me, maybe mile 80, 92 if you're going a bit further from the UW start line. But feeling overall pretty good. We're making really good time. What time is it right now, guys?
9:25.
9:25. So we'll see when we get there. We're admiring this guy's Project One Trek Madone, full red, really nice matching chain and everything. So yep, lots of cool bikes on this route. We totally just missed the turn. Whoops. Isn't that the turn?
That's the turn.
Whoops. My bad. So as we were leaving this rest stop, yeah, there was a turn to get onto the road to keep on going, but we missed it. And there's also a bit of a close call there as some speeding cyclists also decided to take the wrong turn. But nonetheless, we're okay. But this brings up a good point, because for some of the earlier one-day riders, there's actually a unfortunate story where up ahead as well, there was some false markings that people put to lead people astray to a random hill and dead end. So we had probably a total of 2 sort of confusions with the markings, and for both cases, luckily we all had our GPS loaded in to our bike computers. And for me, honestly, I'm a very meticulous person, so I would not trust the Dan Henrys over the GPS usually. So luckily for our group, we were able to stay true. But in future cases, yeah, that's definitely something to consider. As well as you see that little funky paper that's been hanging out on my stem. That's actually me with some handwritten notes about the rest stops. So just the names of them and the miles that they're at. This was just to give me in my head a nice sort of reference point for the future of when to expect the next stop, and especially for one-day riders, if we had a timeline, then you usually want to skip a decent amount of the mini stops, which we did so far. We skipped at least, I think, 1 or 2 of them. So it gives you a good idea of how to pace that out. But anyway, we're going to keep on going now that we're back on the right track. So as we're going along here, one thing that stood out to me about the route that I didn't remember is just the number of railroad tracks across the whole thing. There's so many, and even with these trains here on the right. So definitely call them out to your fellow cyclists, and when you cross them, always go perpendicular. Make sure you have space around you to do that. And unfortunately for these huge rides, they often are a hot spot for crashes. And on that note, really focus on safety. Be generally nice and just respectful of everyone around you, giving each other space. Just sort of common sense things, even around drafting and being on other people's wheels. And sort of on that note, with me sort of on these guys' wheels, it was definitely prearranged that this setup was pretty much going to be happening, and my role of today was to be a vlogger and probably to attack some hills to make sure to not slow them down on the descents. So you'll definitely see that coming up. But nonetheless, with this good pace we're keeping up, we make it to Centralia in no time. We're reaching to the halfway point, and here this is where there's a mist. So I'm not gonna go for the mist this year because it's actually still really cool and cold. So usually you might want to do that, but not this year. We're gonna keep on riding straight through to about the 100 points. So awesome, we made it here to Centralia. There's a lot of people waving signs and everything, and we're gonna keep on going. Woo! All right, we're here officially at the Centralia 100-mile marker. There's some sweet potato French fries, and a lot of people starting to roll in. So really awesome vibes, really good ride so far, and looking forward to keep on going. All right, so we're wrapping up our time a bit here at the 100-mile Centralia stop, and then we're gonna go on to Chehalis. But yeah, recapping right now, it's about 10:18, 91 miles for my ride, and well on pace to make it to Portland. So as we're rolling along to the one-day food stop at the 106-mile marker, so just 6 miles out in Chehalis from the midway point at Centralia, it was sort of a bit mind-blowing to me, just sort of looking back as my first sort of long bout of cycling my first STP. I think I got to Centralia about 3:30 or so, or 4 p.m. And then this time we got here well before noon. So it's definitely been a lot of fun, and being able to see that progress was pretty neat, and what you can do as a team. And that's really what stood out there. But as we're going along here, also you get to partake again into all the little communities and towns as you pass through southern Washington. So that's also pretty cool. And we're gonna make it there to the food stop. So here's another sort of more clear example of the food that's offered. Lots of variety. My favorite though is definitely the fig bar. That's something that I've really enjoyed eating, that I learned for my Everesting. But generally I try to pack some of my favorites and just eat whatever is at the stop. They have a wide variety, so usually you're well covered. But with that, we just take a pretty good break there and we keep on going. So as we got to Napa Vine, we encountered definitely the worst part of the whole route, which is this detour for the one-day riders due to a conflict with the parade. And it goes to the skate park, but it's completely crushed gravel. As soon as I saw it, I knew I wasn't going to be able to ride it. Got off my bike and started walking. My friend Godwin almost took a tumble, and unfortunately I might have seen a couple there with some casualties. So hopefully in the future this won't be possible. Maybe feedback to the organizers, but I know it's very hard due to that conflict. But we kept on going, and really this part of the ride, I think for me, was quite smooth. I mean, the roads are fairly low trafficked. It's not too hilly at this part in comparison to the rest of the route. And sooner or later we made it to Winlock, and this part also brought back a lot of nostalgia, as this is where I ended my first day for my first STP. I think I got there around 5:30, but this time we're just blitzing through and going on, making our way to Vader. All right, we're now at Vader, and we just did another good probably 20-mile segment. They have banana bread here, which is really neat. And yeah, we'll keep on going. There's gonna be some hills going into Castle Rock, but otherwise it's been a lot of fun. So this next 20 miles of the course is actually fairly rolly compared to the rest of it. So what would happen is on the hills, I would try to take the lead and then gain as much time as I can, because on the descents, inevitably, they're going to catch up and pass me. So we sort of see that happen right here as I going down and they go through, and I try to go and catch the wheel, but it's just this yo-yoing process that happens for a good while. It's still sort of fun for me because I finally have some hills to ride, but it does make it a little harder to stick as a complete group, but we just keep on rolling. Fortunately though, there's a big enough hill where I get a pretty decent lead, and I take that time now to vlog about sort of how I'm feeling. And definitely for all these long rides, expect there to be ups and downs throughout. So let's hear what I have to say. Alright, so here riding along, and we're past Vader heading towards Lexington. Wanted to catch up. Definitely been a good ride, but this is definitely just any part of a ride near the middle, getting through it. There's a bit of a lull, so working through it now, but confident I'm gonna make it through. And also the sun is starting to come out, so we're starting to enjoy some of these views, and hopefully this turns into a tailwind. And just as I say that, I get dropped by my group, and I'm just working hard to finally get back, though fortunately we're not very far from the next official rest stop. We're here at Lexington. It's another one of the big official stops. The one after this, just the St. Helens, and they have some cool food. Croissants, big bars, a lot of things. So after this, we're definitely we're gonna be in Oregon next, correct? Yes. So
after we pass the Longview Bridge.
Yep, and the sun is starting to come out. But yeah, it's been rollers, and finally something I can enjoy. But it's been yo-yoing with these guys back and forth. And there's some cool festivities here, including some big bubble blowing. So we set off for Kelso and Longview, and as we get to the Longview Bridge here, it serves as the border between Washington and Oregon, and I think it really is sort of a defining point in the ride. But first, in terms of for one-day riders, you see here, we just sort of take the right lane. There's signage indicating to cars that this will happen, and we do not get an escort up the bridge. For two-day riders, it's a lot nicer. They have you grouped up first, and then every once in a while, you just all go together and you can take the whole road. But for us, we need to really watch out for traffic, as we have these two lanes that merge into one, and then we just have a shoulder to ride on. So you see here, I'm obviously getting very excited because it's a climb and I want to go up. But I am actually looking behind me constantly right now for cars and traffic as this merge is starting to happen, trying to create some room to go up ahead. So definitely when it comes to cars, don't mess around. If you're ever moving towards the left, i.e. closer to cars, you better know that there's no car behind you. And yeah, as we go up here, definitely this bridge also serves as sort of a key delineation, not also between states, but also between the nature of the ride. As we're gonna just see up here, you're gonna basically be on Highway 30, and there's gonna be a bit of foreshadowing some pretty bad parts to that ride. So, but anyway, as we're going here, you're gonna get some awesome views just of all your surroundings and all that the Columbia River has to offer. And then soon after that, you're gonna be on this descent. Please take it careful, just because this whole sort of road surface isn't the best, and there's these expansion joints, so you'll see me sort of bumping around. And lastly, one thing to sort of watch and call out for that I remember is as you're descending, we technically have to take a left at a fork. So at some point, for those more comfortable, it's probably easier to take some of the lane, just to know that, so you don't have any issue with cars. But yeah, great time, also very nostalgic of this Longview Bridge, because I think it definitely serves as a great goal to have, to say that you rode from Washington to Oregon. But now on to the next part. So you're ushered onto Highway 30, which you basically ride on for most of the way till the last 7-8 miles in Portland. And it's a bit infamous for multiple reasons. One is generally for most of it you are quite exposed. As I mentioned, this year was very different as the temperatures have stayed quite reasonable, so actually it didn't end up being too bad on that front. But for my first time, I was literally melting. And then the second is that parts of this highway does feature some very rough sections to ride on. So you'll see here that on the left there's like these rumble strips, and then on the right there's like debris. So you're basically stuck on this narrow sort of road where there's trucks and everything coming from the back, and nowhere really for you to go except to keep a tight line. And it does end eventually, but I think it is quite uncomfortable. So all those things sort of factored in sort of makes this a memorable part of the ride. Maybe not in a good way, but we get here to the St. Helens stop. This year it's been rerouted to another elementary school, McBride, which is a little deeper into the route. But anyway, here I wanted to call out a nice thing that did happen, even though we didn't overall run into that many riders because of our position. But this gentleman in front of me did notice that I was lagging a little bit behind my friends, and he just offered to pull me, and I'm here thanking him for that. And it's nice because definitely, what I said before, you do get a whole range of experiences, but generally I think there is such a nice sense of community through this whole ride. And that was the part that I think I missed a little bit doing from my first one, where I just saw a lot more interesting different bikes and all sorts of different riders just working together. With this sort of pace and where I was going is definitely a lot more cookie cutter. But anyway, we're gonna make our way soon to the next rest stop. Hello, I'm at the 176 mile marker St. Helens stop. It's about 3:36 and we've done 166 miles, at least from me, for my house. And then here it's a cool stop as they have cans of Coke, popcorn, as well as the usual amenities. So this is the last sort of big official stop before Portland. There's some highway more bit to go, and then we're gonna go up the bridge to actually enter into municipal city. So yeah, follow along and let's see how we finish this. Right now my feet definitely are sort of sore, but in terms of the conditions, honestly not the clear skies we were promised, but in terms of how this compared to my first STP, definitely a lot easier. All right, we're getting ready to head out to Portland. Only 30 miles to go, some highway and now the sun's actually shining on me, as you can tell from the lighting. So let's see how that bodes for us. So we're here on Highway 30 with the final stretch, and we do happen to just have a tailwind. So I'm sitting up, riding straight, trying to make it to the St. John Bridge. Let's go! I know I made several mentions of the sun during this vlog. I think looking at the weather report, we were anticipating it to be nice, so being caught off guard by the rain and the late clearing was sort of distressing, but it has finally come. The clouds are at least clearing enough that the wind is pushing us towards Portland, making it a lot easier to just sit up, ride along, and enjoy this final part where, as you can tell, the shoulder does get a lot better as we make our way to Portland, and we will definitely go by the last rest stop here. There's a mini stop, but we're just blowing past it as we all feel pretty good taking a good break in St. Helens. 14 miles from the finish, feeling good. Godwin, how you feeling?
Fantastic. I'm eating a Kirkland Cliff Bar.
This Highway 30 is a lot better than the old one back over there.
Dude, this one is tasting heavy.
And then we're gonna make it to the St. John's Bridge. Let's go! Entering Portland. Soon we are greeted with the St. John Bridge and this right turn with the final climb up and the final climb of the day, which is super duper exciting. I go for it as per usual, as all the hills, and I remember the first time I did this, I also went for it, but that back then, I'll talk more about later, but I had to bear the consequences. But this time I'm just enjoying it. I'm definitely sore. That's why I'm sitting a lot more, because I do think that standing was a little bit more tiring for me at this point, but still working my way up. But it's super exciting as this is a transition from sort of the long roads of highway to more residential traditional city. I know that this is probably still technically Portland, but it's a very different feel for someone that's not local to the area. But soon we make it here to the top of the hill. All right, we made it to the climb. We're going to cross into municipal Portland with the residential streets. Thus, you cross probably one of the most memorable bridges as you're getting more of the city skyline and everything around you. And also for the 2-day riders, I believe there is a photo op here. And I'll put this one up because this was my favorite photo from when I did the Seattle-Portland 2-day ago. I don't think there was a photographer here this time. But yeah, this will be your firm transition into the city where it's going to be a lot more navigating sort of traditional bike lanes and traffic lights until we get to the downtown convention center area to Holiday Park. So we'll go through some of that too, but we're near the end, everyone. We're getting really, really close. Pumpy. Now this feels like Seattle.
What is this?
This is a city. So yeah, a lot of navigating traffic lights and cars now. And yeah, if anyone knows what that green thing is on the left, please let me know because I do think it looks super cool. And we're here, and the first time that I did this, I bonked so hard because I went up that hill and basically gave the rest of my energy. It was so hot I couldn't go on. This time, fortunately, it is not the case. I am feeling very fresh right now, very good. Just going ahead though. Oded in the front there has sort of people that's waiting for him, so he's rushing it as well. So but nonetheless, we're doing really well. The time looks really great, I think, and we're just enjoying our stroll through Portland. It is worth noting that Oregon does have different rules around bikes, such as the bikers need to ride in bike lanes if there's one available. In Seattle, you can take the full width of the lane if you feel necessary, as well as there aren't any markings on the ground, so the signs have all moved like sort of up onto different poles and things. And then I think the last one I heard was maybe that bikes can't ride in bus lanes, where in Seattle usually they are sort of the same or they're mixed together. But regardless, Portland definitely has a ton of biking infrastructure, as you'll see, just sort of littered throughout. It's pretty neat, pretty cool city. Being from Vancouver, BC, I definitely have been here before, but I don't know it as much as I think I probably should be. So I will come back in the future to do a lot more of the city riding and hopefully maybe show it to you all in future videos. But anyway, back to the vlog. We're on Vancouver Road, the final stretch before a quick turn into the finish line. It's just a bit of a flat road right now and then turns into the descent. But we're gonna show you that real soon. But for now, we're almost done. 3 miles to go. But yeah, this is Vancouver Avenue and it's definitely my favorite for a few reasons. One, it's basically flat or downhill. 2, it's named after my hometown. And 3, it leads you straight to the finish line. And the only downside to it is that there is a ton of stoplights, so expect to really hit a lot of them. But slowly and surely, you're gonna make your way down to the final left turn. So this is Multnomah Street, and watch out as you make this left. There's actually a decently steep gradient, and after doing so much downhill, you might not be in the right gear or prepared for it, which might catch you well off guard. But regardless, it's just going to be a good few more blocks with few more lights until you reach the finish line. 207 miles and 5,000-ish feet. And yeah, I think for generally everyone, their feelings at this point is usually ecstatic, excited, and I think that was definitely for me too. We are pretty well ahead of schedule, and for a schedule that I thought personally I was pretty ambitious. Some of us had trains and plans to have, so we were aiming for a 6 o'clock arrival, and I made a lot of contingency plans in case I couldn't keep up with the pace. But overall, it worked out really well. I think on several factors, definitely the weather. This year, 2022, ended up being a very ideal STP one-day rider. Well, actually for 2-day people too, just really cool, really nice. Some drizzles, but nothing bad at all. Made it suitable for riding hard and long distances, and then as well as just having such a rock star team behind me, in front of me I should say, just letting me ride with them. And don't never underestimate the power of draft. Really, if you're positioned right and if you're small like me, I think it's well in the good 40% to 50% savings. But we're just making our way here, and definitely for me now, I'm feeling quite excited as I also have family that's going to be meeting me at the finish line, and I'm going to be staying a night here in Portland, just enjoying what the city has to offer before just driving ourselves back up to Seattle. The finish line is now in sight. They make some road closures for a clean ride, so I'm going to put it back to the original vlog. We're gonna make it, we're gonna make it. Woo!
Congratulations! Welcome to the Rain City. Nice job, nice job.
Good work, we did it. Let's get a photo or vlog. Woo! Yep. So we made it to Portland one day. Woo! We did it. Woo! The final part was pretty fun, and we total time about 12:50 elapsed and 5:40. Salty. We did it. Woo! All right, so we're all done here. Here's my helmet here. I took a photo just like the original one, and I'm gonna go get some of the finisher souvenirs as well as the finisher meal. So sounds good, and catch you and show you what that's like. And here's Godwin, my personal domestique of the day. Thanks so much for watching. We're back at my place, and yeah, I got the swag, which is this t-shirt that says one day rider or finisher depending on which one you did, and the corresponding sticker and patch. I really do miss a small little patch where they did this thing where they hung it over your neck, but I totally understand why you can't do that in today's climate. But I've been waiting for this for a long time. I think riding this whole thing back then, just for context, it's a really funny coincidence, but my moving time of 10 hours 22 was the same for both my first days. The only difference was back then I only made 130 miles, and this time I did pretty much a full 200. So that's about 1.5 times as fast. And the only real difference is I started consistently riding daily since 2020. Back then it was just way beyond me, the idea of doing one day going that fast. But now coming from starting this YouTube channel and just getting out there and riding, it's been really awesome. And that's just to say that you'll be surprised by how far you can go if you just keep on pedaling little by little and see where you get. So that sort of is my big 2 goals of the year sort of met, which is really cool. My Everesting, and then the complete opposite ride, the Seattle to Portland, the flattest thing you can find. So from here, it's sort of going to be a little bit more free flow. I definitely have at least the Grand Fondo Whistler that I'm doing in September, as well as whatever else sort of comes up. So hopefully we'll be able to show you some cool rides coming up, but continue to show you all the local routes as well. But hope that video was really useful, especially for those of you that maybe couldn't experience Seattle to Portland this year, or looking to have sort of a course overview. It doesn't change too much year to year, so hopefully the experience will pass on. But overall, a super duper big thank you to just everyone that supported me, my family, obviously the people that rode with me, but just other people on the road just along. It makes a big way in terms of being able to do accomplishments like this and to keep on riding. But anyway, that's all I have for this video, so I'll see you all in the next one.